Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the THICCDAD Podcast. To start off today's episode, I have some important information. I was contacted by Ronald McDonald House Charities of Canada to share a special message about a campaign that they are having this holiday season. So I'd like to start off today's episode by discussing that. Did you know that there's only 16 children's hospitals in all of Canada? Canada being the second largest country in the entire world. And there's only 16 children's hospitals dedicated to serving children, which means that families who have sick kids often have extremely long and laborious drives to get to a children's hospital. So Ronald McDonald House Charities of Canada has launched the Never Ending Drive, a campaign that visually brings to life the reality faced by far too many families whose drive to the hospital seems never ending. In Canada, 65% of families live outside a city with a children's hospital, meaning that when a child gets sick, long-distance travel far from the comfort of home is necessary. Ronald McDonald House Charities helps ease the challenges faced by families who need to travel for their child's medical treatment, providing them with the comforts of home while keeping families together. The Never Ending Drive is a visual representation that brings to life the struggles of parents with critically ill children who have to travel long, seemingly never-ending distances to get treatment and the emotional and logistical hurdles they face along the road. To help families stay together, RMHC has 16 houses and 19 Ronald McDonald Family Room Program locations. These locations across Canada shorten the distance and provide families with access to much-needed support. RMHC takes care of families with sick children by providing critical support like accommodations, meal programs, and mental health and wellness programs so that families can focus on what matters most, their sick child. RMHC is unable to support up to 4 out of 5 families who need the RMHC House program due to a lack of space or no available program location. This holiday season, RMHC Canada is calling on Canadians to help and the never-ending drive for more families with sick children by donating to RMHC. So to donate, if you'd like to help this incredible cause, please go to rmhc.ca/donate. I will put the link in the description to help this amazing cause and help RMHC expand their program and help more families with sick children. So thank you for listening to that. I can't even imagine, honestly. Having a sick child is something that obviously you hope you never have to go through, but unfortunately it's a reality for a lot of families. Earlier this year, my son had an extremely minor elective surgery. We had tubes put in his ears and we had his adenoids removed. And just, again, like I said, it was an elective surgery. We were fortunate enough that we were able to choose to have this minor operation for him. But seeing him in the hospital as a 2-year-old running around in a hospital gown was just like a holy shit moment for me, because it made me realize, like, oh my God, there's so many families across the world that don't have a choice to be here, and they see their toddler or baby in a hospital gown. And it was a shocking moment and realization for me of, like, wow, how lucky so many of us are, but how unlucky, I guess you could say, so many other families are who have to deal with a sick child. So RMHC is a fantastic charity that helps out. So if you can donate, again, rmhc.ca/donate. Episode 8, here we are. I think I'm sick again because it's cold and flu season, and both of my children have been using my mouth as a coughing receptacle for the last couple of weeks. Whenever I say to my son, hey, can you cover your mouth? What I don't mean is cough into my mouth. Okay, I don't mean cover your mouth with my mouth, which he seems to do sometimes. He sometimes coughs into his arm or his shoulder, and that's fantastic. And he does that about 20% of the time. The rest of the time is spent exclusively coughing into my ear, nose, or throat. Newest phase that my son is in. I do feel sick actually right now. I don't know exactly what's happening. I ate a piece of pineapple this morning, and I took a bite, and it was juicier than I expected. The pineapple juice shot into, I don't even know what part of my body, directly into my lungs maybe, and I coughed for 5 minutes, and then now I have a terribly sore throat. So whether that's from my kids getting me sick or from being attacked by a small triangle of pineapple, I'm not exactly sure. But my son's in a new speech phase. I feel like that's going to be a common theme on these podcast episodes, is discuss the new speech phase that my son is in, because he has 2 right now, actually. One is very interesting. He'll say something, or I'll say something, and he goes, well, that's a good idea. And I don't know where he hears these things, but they're so funny and so cute. And I imagine that it's from daycare or friends of his at daycare who have older siblings that he maybe hears from. It's so funny. I'll be like, hey, buddy, we should go outside and play hockey on the sidewalk. And he goes, ooh, that's a good idea. Very funny. It makes me feel good, actually. And then he's very curious about stuff now. Like, it's obvious that he's learning different emotions at daycare right now, because he'll say something like, if one morning I haven't given him his multivitamin yet, he'll look at me and goes, Daddy, we don't have the orange thing yet, did we? Didn't we? And he looks very curious, and he says, didn't we? A lot. And it's like he's learning how to like express emotions and how to feel all the different emotions. It's so funny. It's literally like watching a tiny human become a human and just like figure out all these emotions. It's so funny to me. I would also like to talk about the fact that it's going to be a whirlwind episode. I can already tell. So just buckle up, hold tight, and I hope you enjoy. Again, just as always, thank you so much for downloading. Thank you for listening, watching the show, sharing it. I appreciate it. I still get nice comments. The last couple of episodes have not had as many downloads, and you know what? That's okay, because we'll get back hopefully. And I still am enjoying doing this. But let's talk about the fact that home ownership sucks. I know my friend Derek Cahill has his entire online identity now is basically talking about how home ownership sucks, but it absolutely stinks. They tell you your whole life that the goal is to like own a home. Having a landlord rules. Something breaks, you make a quick phone call. Hey, Darren, the thing's messed up. It stopped working. Please help. You have to help us. And then Darren comes down, or himself with his little tool belt, or he sends somebody who's qualified and knows what they're doing. When you're a homeowner, it's on you. It's 100% on you. You become experts in fields that you never thought you would ever become an expert in, and fields you don't even want to be an expert in. I now know much more about ceiling fans than I ever thought that I would. I have 2 ceiling fans in my house, one in the living room, one in our bedroom. I'm learning how to like change the light bulbs, because it's not just a simple twist. You have to like negotiate with the thing. It's like a damn Rubik's Cube in your ceiling. You're trying to like twist and pull and this to get the cover off. And then the ceiling fans, they never look like they're fully attached, right? I don't know if mine are just horrible quality or they were installed poorly. My ceiling fans always look like they're about to turn into a whirling decapitation machine. I kind of watch it and I go, I'm diving for my kids' heads to cover them if that thing comes off the ceiling. Because, okay, have you ever looked up a list of like how to prep your house for winter or how to prep your house for spring? There's like 40 pages of things you're supposed to do. You're like, what are you even talking about? You're like, dust the flux capacitor? You're like, I didn't even know my house had that. Talking about how to get the taps outside, how to turn this water off, how to do that and change that. There's the list of things you have to do to prep a house just to like change seasons is absolutely ridiculous. I got some good advice from a friend once. He said, don't ever look like too closely at your house. Like in the corners, if you see like seams of things, floorboards, never look too closely, because you'll find 1,000 flaws with your house. Look up in the corner, you're like, that looks like it's about to collapse. Don't worry about it. Don't even pay attention to it. Unless it's a severe leak. The little minor cosmetic stuff, don't even worry about it. It's just not even worth worrying about. Like, you step on like a loose piece of flooring somewhere and you just hear creaking. You're like, oh, that's great. I'm going to fall into the abyss. If I step on this while holding my child, that amount of weight, just poof, we're going to fall 4 stories into the lobby of hell. God, homeownership absolutely stinks. It's like, again, you have to become experts in things you didn't even think possible. You have to, all of a sudden, like, everything in my house, I didn't do really anything. We bought the house turnkey. We basically did nothing except added a light to the backyard, which I hired an electrician for. I told you a couple episodes about how I tried to change the light switch in my daughter's room and almost shut off the power grid for the entire town that I live in. Washing out my shed. Just like, you're like, what am I even Dude, I have soft hands. I have weak knees. And I'm out here doing yard work and, oh, the shed's leaking. What am I supposed to do? Like, home ownership absolutely sucks. Let's talk about something a little more positive. Christmas. Christmas is coming. It's just around the corner. Christmas is less than, how many days away is it? By the time this episode comes out, it'll be about 30 days away. Less than a month, but very, very exciting. I'm fully in the Christmas spirit. I'm going to be honest with you. I have the Mariah Carey flowing through my veins. There's not even blood, and there's not even oxygen in my blood anymore. It's just, all I want for Christmas. It's all it is in my blood right now. I'm feeling it. I'm probably in the most Christmassy, spirity mood I've been probably since I was a child. Because as a child, Christmas is fantastic. It's full of wonder. It's full of excitement. It's full of, well, one time one of my dogs got hit by a car on Christmas Eve, and that kind of ruined that year. But besides that, full of wonder and presence and cheer. And hopefully you don't have to tell your brother that your dog's dead. But hopefully that's happened to 0 people other than me. Anyways, what year is that? 2012? I don't know. Anyways, as a kid, I loved Christmas, and I remember the best present I ever got was a hockey stick that I really wanted as a kid. And I don't know if it was my mom or my stepdad or who wrapped it, but they just wrapped a hockey stick in paper, which looks exactly like a hockey stick. Didn't put it in a box or anything, and it was always very funny because it was like leaning up against the wall behind the Christmas tree. And the second I came downstairs, I was like, yes, I got my hockey stick. There wasn't a lot of mystery with that one. But my mom and stepdad went in on Christmas. I don't know who did this, and this seems like psychotic level, like Broadway show planning. But right around the time when like we were suspicious, let's say, about Santa Claus, because we didn't have a traditional chimney, and I was like, how does that work? My mom and stepdad can't even keep track of who anyone is. Great. Childhood trauma. My mom and stepdad had like planted outside of our house. They had done like boot prints to maybe look like Santa. They had done like nibbled up carrots as if like the reindeer had eaten them and not finished them. As if like, I mean, I guess you would if you're getting carrots at, let's say, every third house all around the world. You probably wouldn't be consuming all the carrots every single time. And then they had hoof prints, real hoof prints from a real deer foot. Now, I don't know if they robbed a taxidermist. My stepdad did hunt deer. Did he have like a stash of like deer legs under the bed and like a Yeti cooler exclusively for this purpose? I have no idea, but they went hard. And we walked out the one morning, we were like, oh my God, there's actual deer here. This is insane. Santa and the reindeer are definitely real. And that was over the top, which was crazy. But now that I have 2 kids and we live in a town in an area where it's full of holiday cheer. Halloween is crazy around here. Christmas is crazy as well. We went to like a holiday train. There's like a holiday train that drives by that all the carts, what are they called? Train cars are all lit up with decorations and lights. We went and saw that last night and then immediately went to like a Christmas lighting ceremony at like someone's house on the street where like they have a bake sale and raise money for charity. And then at like 7 p.m. sharp, they light up the whole corner of the street, and it was awesome. It was like a Hallmark movie. It was unbelievable. I'm standing there going, holy crap, me and my big city expensive haircut, like my marriage is going to get broken up by a handsome Christmas tree salesman pretty soon. That's how Hallmark movie-y it felt. I told my wife, I said, you be on the lookout for a handsome guy in a plaid jacket because he is going to try to take you from me. He knows you from high school. You guys went to high school together. And he's going to try to rekindle that love. And he's far more handsome than I. He's far more charismatic than I. And he can sing Christmas carols at the top of his lungs. And it sounds good, unlike me. So watch out, sweetheart. Beautiful. I'm excited for Christmas. I have a week off for Christmas this year. And it's beautiful. And I'm very excited to spend it with my children. My wife is going overboard on presents, as per usual. Even though I've expressed extreme interest in not going overboard. But that's just who my wife is. She loves to please. My wife is also, I don't know if anyone else is like this. anyone else's wives or any moms themselves. My wife cannot. If you had a gun to her head, she could not wait until Christmas to give me my present. She gets too excited. She gets too hyped up. And on like the 17th of December, she's like, "Do you want your gift?" And I'm like, "No, I'm okay to wait." She's like, "But it's actually really cool." I'm like, "That's awesome. I know you. I know that it's a cool gift that you got me, but I'm okay to wait." She's like, "But actually, I thought that maybe we could like do like an exchange where I just give you a present now and I'm like, "Please don't do this because I haven't bought your present yet. Most times until the 23rd, I haven't bought your present yet. So let's not do an exchange 8 to 10 business days before Christmas, please. Let's just hold on." I don't think my wife's ever given me my main present on Christmas. She always gets too hyped up. Anyways, 2 kids now, so it's beautiful. I'm very excited. It'll be my daughter's first Christmas, my son's third. He's probably understanding. Every time he sees a jolly guy in red attire, he's like, "Oh, Santa Claus." He's seen Santa a couple times. We're doing Christmas Santa photos, which have been a disaster every single time. I mean, you go to a mall, you pay money, you wait in a line next to like the Baskin Robbins, and then some guy who's hopefully not a pervert in a Santa costume is like in this fake like North Pole thing. And then they take pictures, and they're like, "Yeah, that's $140 for a picture of your kid going "Ah!" in Santa's lap." And that's fine. And I'm hoping that we can weaponize my daughter once again in a photo shoot with my son and be like, "Hey, look, baby girl, she's smiling. Look, she loves it." So we'll see how that goes. But 2 kids is enough. Okay, this conversation has been coming up. My wife and I have been having it. I did a video about it recently. And 2 kids is a beautiful amount, right? We are already, on most days, emotionally outnumbered by these 2 children. Being physically outnumbered by having a third would be a complete disaster, and it's not something I want to do. Also, financially, like you have to get like new cars. You have to get we would have to get a new house if we got a third, because the shed in the back is nice, but it's not properly insulated. I can't put any of my children in there. Because my son turns 3 in January, and 6 weeks later, my daughter turns 1. And that's enough. I'm going to be in a complete emotional spiral all Q1 of 2025, just with milestone after milestone. And the thing that's tough is when you kind of realize it's your last baby, you're dealing with a lot of firsts, but you're dealing with a lot of lasts. You're like, this is the last newborn diaper. This is the last first Christmas. This is the last first family photo shoot. And it's sad. And I would love to give my wife more children, but financially, it's something that's doesn't seem viable, to be quite honest with you. It's our kids right now are so fun, and they're interacting like crazy. This is the most. I took a picture of this. I didn't post it because it's much too personal, I think, for the internet. So I spared the privacy of my children on this one. But my son the other day, we try not to have him go potty in front of the TV for obvious reasons that probably creates a bad habit. But for whatever reason, the other day, my son, he had to go, and he just grabbed the potty and pulled it in front of the TV, and he's going to the potty facing the TV. My daughter, who has started to crawl, by the way, I don't know if I mentioned this, she got her first tooth and started to crawl in the same week, which is insane. Again, it's the last first crawl. It's the last first tooth. She scooches, I'm calling her Scooch now. She scooches up behind my son, who's facing the TV, going pee, and like grabs his hand, and then they were like holding hands while he was peeing, watching TV, and she was like trying to pull his arm out of its socket. It was so cute and fun, and they're interacting. He loves to play with her. He hates when she's asleep. He's like, "Can we wake her up? I want to play with the baby." It's so cute. And if that's not love, if that's not true sibling unconditional love, where you're holding your brother's hand while he's potentially taking a shit while watching, God knows what we were watching, some sort of animal documentary. My son loves animal documentaries. It's a wild experience because I always forget, but that's what true love is, right? When you can hold your sibling's hand while they shit and watch TV. I mean, that's beautiful right there. There's nothing more beautiful. You can't even think of something more beautiful than that. Can't. Exactly. My son watches nature documentaries, which in a lot of ways is completely horrifying because I forget that like most nature documentaries are not meant for children, and they'll have a scene where like an alligator rips a wildebeest's head off and like uses it as a piñata and then starts like shooting threes with it. Alligators turn into Steph Curry with like a wildebeest head. And I'm just like, oh, okay, yeah. No, they're just having a meeting. He took his head off so that he can wash him, give him a bath, and then he's going to put the head back on later. Don't worry. I think you have to be careful about your child watching nature documentaries, especially unsupervised. Anyways, that's exciting. Yeah, my two kids are awesome right now, and they're in this phase now where we're pulling out old toys, my son's old toys that he hasn't seen in, let's say, 2 years, because they're about 2 years apart. My son hasn't even seen, hasn't talked about, hasn't asked about any of these toys in like 24 months plus. Pull this toy out for my daughter because they're age-appropriate toys. And all of a sudden, it's like we're ripping a part of my son's heart and soul out. Like he's seen a long-lost lover who's suddenly come back into his life at a Christmas tree farm in a Hallmark movie. He starts like writing love letters to the toys that he used to have. My dearest cube that makes so much noise and is impossible to turn off. How I have missed thou. I see that you have acquainted yourself with my baby sister, and I will always cherish the memories we had in fall of 2022. He's like, I picture him like writing love letters to these toys that he all of a sudden cares about, that he had zero mention of in the past 2 years. But I'm, again, very excited for Christmas with two kids. It's going to be very fun. It's going to be very chaotic. I am excited to bake cookies that, first of all, baking with a toddler, they need to make cookies that bake in 12 seconds, okay? 14 minutes is like 2 weeks for a toddler. When you have them help put the cookies out and the oven's already preheated and you're like, all right, let's put it in. And the second you close the door, the toddler's like, are they done yet? Is they on to, we can eat them yet? We're doing the eating yet? And you're like, there's 13 minutes and 56 seconds left on the timer. And you can't explain that to a toddler because they have no concept of time. Everything's yesterday. My son's still in the yesterday phase. Didn't we? Yesterday? Didn't we? Yes, yesterday. Did we do that yesterday? I saw the dinosaur yesterday. Like, what? My son's playing pretend right now, which is one of my favorite phases as well. He's so creative with his mind. He, makes me little coffees and makes me little treats. He rides his little balance bike around the house and it's like, Daddy, I got you a treat, and hands you something that doesn't exist. And it's very cute. But the problem is when his playing pretend crosses into an area where it might not necessarily be pretend. When he tells me that, oh, look, there's a T-Rex in the corner, I am 95% sure that there's not a T-Rex in the corner of my house. And I could play along right from the get-go. There's no delay in me playing along when my son tells me that there's a Triceratops in the backyard, okay? When my son tells me that there's an owl in the corner, I'm 50-50 on whether that's real or not. He knows what an owl looks like. Owls exist. Owls have not been dead, permanently extinct, for millions of years. Owls are around. There is a greater than 0% chance that there's an owl in my house, and my son's very calm. Whether he's saying that there's an owl in the house or a T-Rex, he's the same calmness. So I have no idea if he's being serious or not. So now his playing pretend has me walking around my house being like, is there an owl in my house right now? And I pretty much have to double check. The only time I don't check is when he literally says like there's a dinosaur in the house, which is fun as well. I want to talk a little bit about what it's like on a relationship with two kids. Because one kid, two kids, no matter how many kids you have, it takes a strain on your relationship. And something my wife and I, date nights are obviously something that are talked about a lot, that people talk about, sort of rekindling, not letting that spark die out, not letting that flame die out. My wife and I try to do date nights. Our daycare's been instrumental in that. Our daycare does monthly date nights where they take the kids for a few extra hours at the end of the day, and so that the parents can go out and do date nights, which is fantastic. I wish everyone would do that. But we try to do, date night like once a month, whether we're at home or we go out or whatever, because eating out is so expensive. You can get like a glass of wine each and like some sort of fry appetizer, and your bill is $200. And you're like, what? What is happening? Was it golden salt? Was it salt from the Himalayas that was literally brought here by someone of Himalayan descent? Did a Sherpa make these fries? Anyways, so my wife and I, when it's too expensive to go out, we've done what's called a box and bottle date night. So one of us picks the bottle, meaning the bottle of wine or whatever that we're going to drink together. And one of us picks the box, meaning the box of takeout food. So whether it's pizza, Greek food, shawarma, anything like that, we do a box and bottle night, which is awesome. Sometimes at home we'll watch a crappy movie or get caught up on TV shows that we haven't been able to watch with both kids out of the house. And it's awesome. So I highly recommend a box and bottle night to anyone who, maybe is struggling to get out of the house and you only have an hour or 90 minutes to have a date night and it's too expensive to go out. Try a box and bottle night. I highly recommend it. It's fantastic. Thank you guys so much for listening. I know I started off this episode a little differently, but I really wanted to, I like giving back, especially around the holidays, and supporting Ronald McDonald House Charities is something that I'm interested in doing. They reached out to me and said, like, is there any way you can help us out with this campaign, this Never Ending Drive campaign? I was like, I didn't even have a second thought about it. I was like, absolutely. What do I got to do? So if you can, once again, that's rmhc.ca/donate. That helps them provide resources to people who have sick kids. Unfortunately, especially around the holiday season when it's tough to be away from your own home, they try to provide some of the comforts of home. So once again, thank you so much to everyone for listening, downloading the show. I appreciate it. Share it. Give it a 5-star rating. Send it to a mom who needs something to do, needs something to listen to while doing laundry, breastfeeding in the middle of the night, doing dishes. As always, if you are dealing with postpartum depression or anxiety or anything in between, I hope you're getting the support and love you need. And probably one more episode before Christmas, but thank you guys once again. I love you. Take care.